Welcome to day 37 of the Trump administration. Now, I have stated over the course of the last 36 days where I disagree with his policies and why I am opposed to a number of his different agendas, for lack of a better term. But today's main topic I'm seeking the aim to discuss at is the electing of Tom Perez as the new DNC chair, or the new chairman of the Democratic National Committee. Now, during his address, which, standard stuff you typically expect of politicians, he goes on to refer to Trump as the worst president in U.S. history. Now, I can recall over this past election cycle, there was a lady I was talking with, and she was conservative, and she referred to Obama as the worst president in U.S. history, or the worst ever. Now, anyone who would make that statement of a president after FDR, basically anyone who's made that statement about any of the modern presidents since the 1940s, either is letting their political ideology cloud their judgment or isn't well versed on most of these presidents. Now, they've been doing these presidential ranking polls for a long, long time. And, obviously you can have your own opinion and your own mindset. But the cold hard fact is there's a general consensus that Lincoln, Washington, and FDR are the top three. And that's just something that is not going to change. It's probably always going to stay the way it's been that way for the last century. And I'm using that to convey this idea that there are generally accepted things in relation to the presidency. Now, in hearing him say that, I hearken back to what that lady said to me. And I hearken back to when I was first getting introduced to the presidents and kind of reading up on most of them. And I always thought it was really funny how all of the presidents right next to Lincoln, who's again considered one of the best in that top three, are all at the bottom three. And that's Franklin Pierce, his direct successor, James Buchanan, and Lincoln's direct successor, Andrew Johnson. Now, the country, mainly under Buchanan, just lost its mind. Pierce didn't do that good of a job in preserving it either, but under Buchanan, things went to garbage. And, his acts that were just so pro-slavery did not appease the North and only solidified the views of the South and moved them further in the direction of creating their own country known as the Confederate States of America. So when you look at that and you think about how this guy bragged about how he would be the last U.S. president because now we're going to have two separate countries and how history would vindicate his memory, and then go and look at Andrew Johnson and his attempts to undo all of the policies Lincoln put in place for African Americans and cause the radical Republicans to fight him tooth and nail to keep our rights in place, and thereby solidify Congress's increased impact on policy. It all goes to this idea that these men were awful. And you look at those polls and these ranking systems that have been in place for well over 100 years now. People agree these are the worst ones. That's why they are not celebrated during these holidays. They are not invoked at all. And to be familiar with that stuff, and again, have to sit there and listen to this person say what he said today, and know that that is who is at the top of the DNC now, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm a person who, keep in mind, is very progressive in their social ideology. I'm pro-choice, pro-gay marriage, anti-death penalty, all of that, pro minimum wage increase. But I can't back someone that would make a statement that is so incorrect that it borders on a complete ignorance of what we've had in the past.